All right, welcome. So excited to see everyone here today. My name is Jacqueline Miller. I am a health educator with Employee Wellness, and it's so wonderful to see all of you here for the second half of our Employee Wellness book club on the Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. So first, we're just going to start with a little overview about the second half of the book, and then we'll get into that discussion portion. So for those who missed the first session last week, or just need a quick refresher, in the first half of the book, we learned the core concept of the let them theory, and it is like the ultimate tool for detachment. So learning to stop burning our own energy, trying to control other people's actions, choices, and opinions. So that's kind of the first half of the book. And let's dig into the second half. So Mel takes us on a little bit of a deeper journey, the second half, where it's no longer just about them and what they are doing, but now the spotlight shifts over to us. And how do we actually live this way every single day without becoming completely detached and cold and not letting people walk all over us? So we're going to dive into this topic today. Um, so, um, like I said, let them, that's the detachment portion. And then it's also about not letting other people's actions, choices, and opinions control us. So let's bring that into the first key concept here of the second half. Um, One of the biggest takeaways from these later chapters is clearing up a massive misconception. A lot of people here let them and think that it means being the doormat, just letting people walk all over them. They think, oh, so if a coworker treats me this way, then I just have to let them. And Mel's answer, the author of the book, is that no, you don't have to let them do that. She clarifies that let them is actually about facing reality. So you let them show you exactly who they are and what they're capable of, and you stop making excuses for them. Once they show you who they are, then you get to choose your response. So that's where your power comes from. Think about this in terms of your daily wellness, your workplace sanity. You can't control if a colleague chooses to be negative or if a family member makes a poor choice. You have to let them do it. But you have total control over your boundaries. So let them doesn't mean you stay there and take it. It means you stop wasting that energy trying to change them, and you're able to calmly choose what you are going to do next. So really it shifts you from being reactively angry to being calmly in control. The other concept from this second half of the book is talking about the story and the rescue. So Mel challenges us with looking at how much anxiety we create for ourselves by writing these scripts for other people. So we feel like we want people to apologize a certain way or react to some sort of news or announcement a certain way. Or we just feel like we create this like little instruction manual for how we want people to live. And think about how this plays out daily. So when a friend or a colleague, maybe they take forever to text you back or reply to an email, what story do you instantly tell yourself about this person? So do you make up some narrative or some script about why they didn't respond and how they're taking so long? Um, Mel reminds us that how quickly someone responds is rarely a reflection of how they feel about you. So it's just an indication of how overwhelmed they are. And really, she says that 99% of the time, we have no clue what someone else is carrying. So in this example, let them reply on their time, assume good intent, and protect your own peace. The second half of this concept, the rescue. So she talks heavily about this rescue. Um, how many of us in this room are chronic fixers? We see a coworker or a loved one struggling, and we just rush in to save them. Mel points out that we often do this because watching them struggle makes us uncomfortable. The second half of the book is a beautiful, but also really tough reminder to let people experience their own life lessons and struggle a little bit until they're ready to either heal or accept something or move on. So, um, and she also talks a little bit about adult friendships here, which is really interesting. And I learned a lot from this section too. Um, if you're feeling isolated and you don't have like adult friends or friends at work, Mel challenges us to go first. So don't wait for that community of people or those friends to find you. Push past your own fear and your pride, possibly, and go first. Be willing to initiate the connection here. Okay, this is the third concept that she talks about, chasing potential versus the chronic complaining. Uh, this is kind of like the tough love portion that she delivers, a little bit of a reality check too, about where we spend our emotional currency. She notes that pressure never creates change, it only creates resistance. And if you find yourself chronically complaining about a coworker, friend, partner, um, that complaining, she says, is actually like a mirror. So it reveals that you are fighting reality and clinging to their potential rather than accepting who they are right now. So true wellness and power comes from stopping the complaints, accepting the reality, and really choosing how you want to show up. So I'd love to have a little interaction, chat box interaction. We kind of talked about a few different concepts here, and I'd love if you put in the chat if you are a one, so that's your chronic fixer or rescuer, trying to constantly solve everyone else's problems. Put a two if you're a storyteller. So you're writing scripts, kind of deciding that narrative for why someone did or didn't do something. And then complainer, type a three if you're, clinging to someone's potential. And feel free to put more than one number if you need to. We got a
We got some
two.
twos. Oh,
Go ahead, Cody.
we
Thanks.
got a couple of ones. I personally would say I'm a one and a bit of a two. One and three, combo of one and two. And I have been all three. I think that's fair. I think that that's a valid and like good insight is I think that we can be all three at different times. Another one and two, all three at different times.
Yeah, and I think it depends on the relationship with the person too. Like, I probably react
Agree.
differently to my spouse than I would to like my best friend or something like that. So awesome. Thanks for participating there. Um, this is now your portion of the meeting where you get to take some time to get in a smaller conversation, talk about the book. And like I said, you don't have to have read the book to be able to participate because I'm going to be providing those discussion questions for you. Um, so uh, let's see, I figured out how to put the discussion guide in the content panel on WebEx. Um, are you guys able to see that or do I need to drop it in there again? It's so,
I would say let's drop it in the chat if we can. Oh,
okay.
there it is. I just got it.
Did that pop up?
It did.
Okay. So go ahead and download this document. At least one of you in your group will need to have that discussion guide. Um, so how we're going to do this is we'll have the breakout rooms. And if you are breakout room 1, you'll work on question 11. Breakout room 2 will be question 12, so on. You see the pattern there. Um, and if you do finish your question early, feel free to move on to other questions in the guide or have whatever discussion you feel that you'd like to around this topic. Um, so I am going to set up these breakout rooms. Give me just one
Great.
moment here. But if are there any questions?
So far, looks good in the chat.
Okay, give me just one second here.
Well, as you're setting up the breakout rooms, I'll say last week I was a little bit underprepared. I hadn't read the book yet, but I was able to read it over the weekend, and I think that it's fabulous. This has been a really great book club for me anyway, and I've found myself definitely utilizing a lot of the tips since then. So it's interesting how impactful it can be.
Awesome. Okay. Okay, I think I've got them set up. So we will see you in about 15 minutes.
Thanks, Jacqueline.
In 1 or 2 words, the biggest emotion or takeaway you have when you think about applying let them to your life right now. Let's see what comes up.
We've got empowerment and relief, assume good intent. That was a good one. I liked when she said that in the book, assume good intent. Less stress, peace.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think a lot of these takeaways are really important to how we can apply this theory in our life. Um, and I hope that you can bring it forward with you. I just want to plug in the little wellness takeaway as well that I found from the book and why we're talking about this in the employee wellness space. So when we think about stress and burnout, we could blame our workloads or our schedules, but so much of our chronic stress actually comes from like this emotional friction that we feel when we're battling, um, different conflicts in our mind or whatever it may be. Um, and this can be exhausting, wishing that reality were different or that people were different. So um, when you choose the let them mindset, you're able to stop waiting for that external world to change in order for you to be happy. You can give up these illusions or different like control that you have over others. And in return, you can gain total control of your own peace of mind, your boundaries, and your time. So I see this as true self care. Um, and I wanted to leave you with this quote from the book. Uh, the moment you let them, you are no longer a victim of their behavior. You are the author of your own life. I feel this really sums it up. And I just wanted to thank you all for taking time today out of your schedules to attend and for your vulnerability and your breakout sessions. And I know that this is really showing up for your own mental wellness today. So hope you have a fantastic rest of your day and that you can really take these principles into your own life. So thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you all.